Hey, LBK, what's good? Welcome back to the Focus LBK podcast. We are delighted to have in the library with us today Mrs. Margaret Randle, who is a member of the Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. You got to say it like that. You got to enunciate it properly, because every time I hear an alpha, an AKA, say it, they say Alpha Kappa Alpha. So
Incorporated.
Incorporated.
Yeah.
So Miss Randle was a former principal at Wheatley Elementary, which became Irvin Elementary over there in Manhattan Heights, Dunbar area. So we a very illustrious guest. And if y'all have watched the show, then y'all know that when we're recording in the other room, oftentimes we can't get this room. It's because the AKAs have this room and they be turning up. I don't know what they do in here when we're filming,
fun,
but they have a lot of fun, whatever it is. Miss Randle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for allowing me to be on your show. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the AKAs here in Lubbock. Whatever you think is important for us to know. Okay. And I know y'all have that Pan-Hellenic, I want to say Hellenistic, is Pan-Hellenic Council coming up.
Okay.
Get into that a little bit.
And again, thank you for allowing me to be on the show.
And pull your mic just a little bit
closer. What I would like to do is to start broader and to talk about the international Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, and then pull it in, and then talk about our local chapter. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated is the oldest sorority founded by Black educated women. We were founded on the campus of Howard University in 1908, and actually our charter day, our day that we were founded, is January 15th, which is coming up pretty soon.
Wow.
And the person who had this idea had a professor who was a member of another organization. She saw how they supported women, how they were active. And so she decided that, as African American women, we should have an organization, that we should have a sorority. So thus, we became Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority on the campus, as I said, of Howard University in 1908. We have been around since that long, active, and we were incorporated in 1913, because we wanted to make sure that, looking at perpetuity, and that we would be a viable part of society for forever. So that's the reason. And the person who had the idea was Ethel Hedgeman Lyle. She lived in Minor Hall, and the university, at Howard University, they have allowed our sorority to have artifacts there, to have landmarks there, because it was very important. And if we think about 1908, that's not too many years past slavery. So some of and even in just looking at the population of students that were enrolled there, the majority of them were men. They were African American, and I think there were about just 25 women. So, just to be that close to post-slavery, to be a woman, to be in college, that was like, wow. They had to be very, very smart. They had to be very progressive, and I don't want to use the word aggressive in a negative sense, but they had to be forward thinkers in order to be there on that campus and to be in an organization. But anyway, there are several things that are important to Alpha Kappa Alpha women, but nothing is more important than being of service to all mankind. Whenever we have meetings or something, and when I say that, something else that is even more important than service to all mankind is that we know that there is something that's bigger than us. We know that we were created, and so we always remember that we are created, and that, and so we include I don't want to say a particular religion, but we include God in what we do. We always start all of our meetings with some kind of prayer, and just being grateful and being appreciative of the legacy that has come before us, and what our roles are as Alpha Kappa Alpha women. But we do service to all mankind. We are an international sorority. We have chapters in 11 different countries. And I just put myself on the spot, so I hope that I can remember to name all 11 of them. Dubai, the Bahamas, the U.S. Virgin Islands, of course, in the United States, North Korea, South Korea.
I was going to say, y'all are bad if y'all got a chapter in North Korea.
We're not in North Korea. Japan, Germany, and there are 11. And I apologize that I can't remember all of them.
That's all right.
But we have like 10 different regions, and our chapter here is in what's called the South Central region. South Central region is made up of Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, and New Mexico. And internationally, we have about 1,000 plus chapters, and about 355 initiated Alpha Kappa Alpha women. Here locally, I would consider ourselves to be kind of a small chapter. There are some chapters that have as many as 800, 900 members. Those are in larger places where there's a larger population of people that look like me. But here we have a little bit less than 40 members. We are all college educated. And as a side note, that there is a chapter on the campus of Texas Tech University that our chapter oversees. And again, our main focus is to be of service to all mankind. Just to kind of give you a little bit of history about the local chapter, our chapter was chartered on December 13th, 1958. And we had about 11 or so members they were already members that were living here in Lubbock. And they saw the need to charter a chapter here. And in order to have a chapter, you needed 12 members. Well, they only found 11, but the corporate office allowed them to go in and to charter a chapter here. The first president of the local chapter was Mrs. Colvin, Lucietta Colvin, and her daughter, Catherine Richardson, is yet a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority, so she's one of the charter members. Mrs. Colvin was a speech therapist, and other charter members were Mrs. Marjorie Thomas, who was a counselor at Alderson, and Clarabelle Smith was a teacher, and there were Harvey Roberts. Her husband was a Dunbar principal at one time. And then there were some other members of the sorority. Mrs. Loud, her husband was a Methodist minister. And the interesting thing about her is she's yet alive. She lives in San Antonio. Is that she has chartered 4 chapters. She chartered the chapter somewhere around in Atlanta, and then here in Lubbock, El Paso, and then again in San Antonio.
Wow.
And then pulling back and looking back at our chapter here. We have done we have been involved in a plethora of activities. We did the United Negro College telethon back in the late 70s, and that was interesting. We did it on the ABC affiliate here. We got some interesting calls from people, and we just smiled and just graciously said, thank you for watching. And we also got people who were very sincere and who contributed to the United Negro College Fund. We have worked for several years with the Jerry Lewis Telethon while it was still being done. And we have voter registration as one of our targets. That has been one of our targets since the inception of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority. We do things with the food bank, and in fact, a few years ago, we donated 1,908 pounds, and I wonder why we did 1908, but I'm just saying, we just did that many pounds of canned goods to the food bank when they were still accepting canned goods. We have done Little Miss Fashionetta. We sponsored the Miss Black Lubbock pageant at one time, and the winner was Brenda Lockhart. Brenda was a student at Texas Tech. Not only did she win the Miss Black Lubbock pageant, but she entered representing Alpha Kappa Alpha in Lubbock, the Miss Black Texas pageant, and she won that. So she went to the international thing to Miss Black whatever. We have done, this really dates me, and but this just kind of is a history of the things that our sorority has been involved in. We did the swine flu vaccinations. We had a member of our sorority who was a nurse, so she orchestrated that and got us involved with giving the swine flu vaccination. We have done, I mentioned voter registration. We've walked the blocks to get people registered to vote. And we have collaborated with Star Care through East Lubbock Community Alliance in the activities that they have supported at Staccato and the school district in. We have supported the APS, Adult Protective Service. We have made donations to them. And I am at a loss as to remember all of the other activities that we have done. But again, the most important thing that we do is to be of service to all mankind. And we do like to have fun, but while we're having fun, we're learning how to be better contributors to the community. And we have gotten really good support from the community. There are not too many times that we have gone out and solicited help, whether it's just additional volunteers or whether it's financial resources, that when we tell our story that people are always willing to help us. So we feel blessed to be able to be here in Lubbock and to help the community.
Right. When you say that you guys oversee the chapter at Tech, what does that oversight involve? And also, how does one become an AKA?
Well, okay. That oversight or overseeing the chapter at Texas Tech involves a couple of things. Number one is that our chapter provides what's called a graduate advisor. A graduate advisor has to be certified. We have to go through training, so you'll know what you're supposed to do. And whenever the undergraduate chapter has any activities, well, the graduate advisor or someone from the graduate council has to be present. We offer additional support to them, for example, just training on when they're electing new officers. If they need resources on where to find a place where they can do volunteer work, we give them suggestions for places where they can do volunteer work. And we certainly do not dictate to them, this is what you need to do. Of course, whether you are a member of an undergraduate chapter or a graduate chapter, you still have to adhere to and to abide by the Constitution and bylaws and the initiatives that are current for the sorority. So they do theirs mostly on the campus and then sometimes out in the community. In order to become a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority, in the undergraduate chapter, you have to be enrolled at a university. You have to have a minimum of 12 semester hours. You have to have a certain GPA, a cumulative GPA has to be higher, it has to be a certain GPA, and then you have to have a current GPA, and of course you have to be enrolled. And then for additional information, people who are interested can go to the website, and it's aka1908.com. And somewhere over on the left side, it will have the criteria for if you want to become a member. If you want to become a member of the graduate chapter, that's by invitation only.
Invitation only.
By invitation only.
What do you look for in the ladies that you invite?
Well, we look for a couple of things. Number one, scholastic aptitude is a requirement. The other thing is people who have high morals, who believe in volunteering in the community, that have been doing things in their respective communities, and who have the same values as Alpha Kappa Alpha women. And I would say that's pretty much it. And again, if people are interested in being invited, well, just go in to look at the website and to see what the criteria is. It would be, and I'm stepping out here, it would be difficult to invite somebody that you've never seen volunteer, because we don't want people to join the sorority just to wear the colors and just to have a pretty picture. We want people who understand the importance of being involved in the community. I heard someone once say, volunteering is the rent you pay to live here, and somebody paid their dues. Somebody paid the rent so that we could be here. So it's our responsibility to bring in members who believe in volunteerism and who have done it already.
Miss Randle, I'm a Sigma.
Yes, that's right.
And I have quite a few wonderful memories from my days pledging the fraternity and just being with the brothers and the things that we used to do. What is one of your favorite memories from let's make it from undergraduate years?
Well, you know what? I graduated from Texas Woman's University in 1972. TWU did not have sororities. We did not have sororities.
I see.
Now, in Denton, there are two universities, TWU, and then back then it was North Texas State University. Now I think it's the University of North Texas. They had sororities, and I have friends that would go across town and pledge there. That was not something that I was interested in doing. So when I graduated from TWU in 1972 and moved to Lubbock, I have family members who were already members of the sorority, and I was blessed to be able to work at Hodges Elementary. That was my first teaching job. And Mrs. Teresa Wheatley was the registered nurse there.
Wow, Miss
she,
Wheatley.
you know Miss Wheatley, and she was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. So of course I didn't walk up to her and say, I want to become a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. But I just made sure that I was involved. I made sure that whenever the sorority had an event that I went, so that they could see me and to see that I was interested in the community, and so I was invited to join. So I would say that my fondest memory would be just sitting at the table with those members who had paved the way and just listening to their stories. Like, for example, Willie Myrtle Washington. Mrs. Washington was the first director of, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was something kind of like the welfare department for the county. She was the first African-American person to have that job. Barbara Williams and her husband, Prentice Williams, had been a coach over at Dunbar, and they were trailblazers here. Billy Cavell, Mrs. Cavell, is a member of my sorority. She and her husband owned Cavell's Pharmacy for 49 years. And just listening to them talk and how they would process stuff, how they would have these sometimes people would say outlandish ideas. How dare you think that you can be on the society page of the Lubbock Avalanche Journal? That has never happened, but it did. So I would say that I don't have one particular fond memory, but just being able to listen to them and to learn from them, I would say that helped to mold me into the Alpha Kappa woman that I am today.
So you said that Mrs. Wheatley, the nurse,
right.
Is that the same Mrs. Wheatley from the elementary school that it was named after?
No, Phyllis Wheatley.
Oh, the poet.
No, Teresa Wheatley was in my lifetime, and Phyllis Wheatley was in the 1700s.
Right. Okay, I didn't know it was that Wheatley. I was going to say, isn't that magnificent that you taught at the school that was named for it? But we're talking about an earlier
exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Gotcha.
Well, actually, I taught at Hodges. Hodges is at 50th and Avenue P. When I became a principal, my first principalship was at Wheatley Elementary. And the interesting story about that is that when I taught at Hodges, Mr. Colvin was the principal at Hodges. He had been the principal at Wheatley. When LISD, when Lubbock Independent School District, integrated, one of the things that they did was that they moved principals. A principal from a black school went to a white school to become the principal, and the principal from that white school went to that black school. Mr. Rocap, Don Rocap, had been the principal at Hodges. Mr. Colvin was the principal at Wheatley, so they switched them. When I came to Lubbock to work, Mr. Colvin was a principal at Hodges. When I became the principal, he was still living across the street from Wheatley. So my relationship with him continued when I became the principal. When I would leave in the afternoon, he'd be outside watering his grass, and we'd talk. Sometimes in the morning when I would come, he would be outside. And Mr. Colvin was a really good mentor. He believed in the community, he believed in the school, and he believed in me. And that made me work even harder. And just as a side note, he would say, young lady, who drives a yellow car? And I said, well, that teacher drives a yellow car. He said, she gets there late and she slides in the back door, doesn't she? I didn't know that. So, so it was nice having that relationship with Mr. Colvin and having him across the street. And he just looked out for the school. He looked out for the school, and I appreciated that. So I feel like that just kind of helped to bring me full circle with him, because, as I said, I had taught at Hodges, where he was a principal, and then when he retired, he still lived across the street from the school that I became the principal for. And in 2010, Lubbock Independent School District had a bond election to build a new school, to close Wheatley and to close Ella Isles. And it passed, and Wheatley opened in September 2013, and I was the principal there, so it was good.
What year did the LISD integrate?
I want to say it was. Now, I came here in 1972, and my history prior to that, I don't have history prior to that, but I remember in 78, 79, LISD did crosstown busing. Mm-hmm. But I think they might have done something prior to that, but I remember crosstown busing in elementary school. Like, we might say at Wheatley, A through L, your last name A through L, went to May Murphy for one semester, for the first semester. And then whatever, M through Z went to Overton at third grade. There might be third grade at Overton, fifth grade over here, and then vice versa. Whiteside, Waters, and Nat Williams were not built. Those were not schools. And then Murphy came to Wheatley for one semester, A through something, and then different level or something. So that was in 78, 79. And I was the counselor at Wheatley. And I remember us going through training of how to relate, how to interact with the students that were being bused over to Wheatley, or being bused over to May Murphy or whatever, or something. So, and as I said, there might have been some integration prior to that, but I'm not the expert on that part. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not the expert on this part either, but I have history there.
Right. Can you touch on that Pan-Hellenic Council that you told me about the other day?
Yes. Around 1930. Well, let me back up. There are 9 predominantly African American sororities and fraternities. Four sororities and 5 fraternities. And Alpha Phi Alpha was founded in 1906. Eta Delta Omega. Alpha Kappa Alpha was founded in 1908. And then I want to say Kappa Alpha Psi, and then Omega Psi Phi, Delta Sigma Theta, Zeta Phi Beta,
Phi Beta Sigma,
Phi Beta Sigma, Sigma Gamma
I was wondering
Rho.
when you was going to say that.
That's yours. I already got to throw that. Make sure I get that right. And then in 1963, Iota. I can't remember. But in 1930, the 5 that were already founded got together and said, we have more things in common than we don't have in common. So why don't we form this organization whereby we support each other, share ideas, and just, do a better job of serving people who look like us. Thus, the NPHC, National Pan-Hellenic Council, was born. And to this day, it still functions. However, there is a NPHC on the campus at Texas Tech, but we do not have like a graduate component
I
of
see.
that. We just recently started talking and just kind of want to do things together. Just because, again, we might wear different colors, but we support the same community. We will have pretty much the same beliefs about that. We need to be of service. The Delta Sigma Theta, the local chapter here, put together a group of Divine Nine, and that's what NPHC is called, D9, Divine Nine. We went to see The Color Purple together, and that was really good. I have lots of friends who are Deltas. I have lots of friends who are Zetas and Kappas and Omegas and Sigma Gamma Rhos and everybody. But we had a really good time just laughing and talking, and some people we hadn't seen in a long time, and we enjoyed the movie, and then had a chance to take a group picture together when the movie was over.
What are some of your upcoming events that you have that the AKAs will be sponsoring and getting involved with?
Yeah, okay. Well, as I mentioned, our chapter, our sorority, was founded in 1908, January 15th. So January 15th is coming up. We will celebrate that by being of service. We're going to do volunteer work and collaborate with the Volunteer Center. The Volunteer Center is doing an activity whereby they are putting together like care packets that will be distributed to a certain neighborhood. Last year we did the same thing, and the volunteer packets, the care packets that we put together were distributed in the Chapman neighborhood. I'm not sure where they will be this year, but we're doing that same thing. And then they have bags that we write encouraging messages on and decorate, and we'll put things in it, and they will be distributed to a neighborhood. So that's what we're doing to celebrate a day of service. And our sorority tells us that you must. Sometimes we'll hear people say, oh, I'm so excited that this is a holiday and it's a day off. And for our sorority, it's a day on. It's a day that we don't have to go to work, but it's a day where we're doing work in the community, where we're volunteering to be of service to someone or to an organization. The other thing that we're doing is we're going to do an art summit on February. I don't remember the exact date now. I apologize for that. And Alderson Elementary. The principal there, Dr. Drew Coleman, is my sorority sister, and she has allowed our sorority to come and to do an art project with her students there. We will do an activity on that Friday with the members of the Divine Nine, that 9 group of Black sororities and fraternities, and we haven't really revealed what that activity is going to be. And, when I first started talking, I mentioned the importance of recognizing that there is a being that's greater than us. We always celebrate Founders Day by worshiping together as a group. So this year we're going to go to the church that's across the street from Joan Irving, St. John. We're going to go to St. John. And we have one other activity that we're thinking about doing, but we haven't finished putting that together. Just as a member of several different organizations, I will participate in the Kwanzaa celebration that's taking place on February 3rd. One of my pastime hobbies, I would say, is doing storytelling. So I am going to participate in the Kwanzaa celebration on February 3rd. I'm going to tell a story. I'm going to tell a story about quilting, and it's a story that I've written myself. It's a story about quilting. My mother was a quilter, and I can remember the winter nights and the ladies coming to our house and my mother and her friends talking. And my mother told me I was always nosy. I always wanted to know what they were talking about. And she would say, you can't be in the room with us. Well, one time I decided I'm going to find out what those ladies are talking about. I hid under the quilting frame. You know what they were talking about? Nothing that was important to me. That didn't make any sense to me. And I thought, I dare not come out, because if I come out, she'll know I'm here. And then they started eating. But anyway, I'm telling that story, and I'm also going to tie in Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. And one of the things that, when I tell stories, one of the things that I like to do is to leave the people who listen or who are there with something that they can have to remember the story and to remember me. So I have something that I will give to everybody who's there in attendance. So that's not something that my sorority is doing, but I'm doing that as an individual. But I'd like to think that my sorority will come and support me.
I'm sure they will.
I hope so.
Yeah. And speaking of a day of service and getting out and, instead of taking a day off, it's a day on. I think you wanted to touch on some of the boards and commissions.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for asking that. The city of Lubbock has, I would say, between 42 and 46 boards and commissions, and they are made up of citizens. And I didn't realize this until maybe about 15 years ago, that if you want to serve your city, there's no compensation, although some boards meet at noon and you get lunch at that board meetings. But if you want to serve your city and to make a difference, you can apply. You can fill out an application to be appointed to a board or a commission. And I am currently on a board that's called the Appointments Advisory Board. And what this board does is we look at all of the boards that we have here in Lubbock and look at the names of people who have said, I'm interested in serving. And we look at, is there a vacancy? And then we want to make sure that each board is representative of the population of Lubbock. Ethnicity, gender, and as well as district. So we look at that. Like, let's say, for example, Parks and Recreation, that there is an opening there. There's no one from District 2. We look at the applications and to see, is there someone from District 2 that's interested in serving on Parks and Recreation Board? And if so, we recommend that name. That name comes out of our Appointments Advisory Board, and that name goes to the City Council. My committee is not the one who makes the final decision. We just make recommendations. And the City Council is the one that actually appoints individuals. So if you're interested in serving on one of those boards, just go to the city website. And if you can't remember that, call the city secretary's office and tell them, I want to serve on a board. How do I apply? You can have your resume, you can submit your resume, and you can also call your city council from representative from your district. You can also call the mayor and just let them know that I'm interested. We do a report at the end of every year and publish that, and that's made available to the public. And unfortunately, we do not have enough African American candidates who apply. So my appeal is, look at the list. If you can't remember the list, call and ask. And to see if there is a board or a commission that you're interested in, that you feel like that you have a skill set that you can contribute to that board, and then just apply. And then reach out to your council person and to the mayor and to let them know that you're interested in serving.
You know what? I can tell you, to any of the listeners out there and viewers, if you go to the City of Lubbock's website right now, it's mylubbock.us. Right there, halfway down the page, it says City of Lubbock is hiring for boards and commissions.
Right, and then if you go to the city secretary's site, and then you will see the listing of all of the boards and commissions, and there's also a description there of what that board does, as well as when that board meets. Some boards meet at noon, some meet at 8 o'clock in the morning, some in the afternoon. Just a quick, some of the boards, zoning, that board recommends whether there can be this store there or not there, this liquor store close to the school or not close to the school. Right. The health board, the library board, Parks and Recreation, Keep Lubbock Beautiful, the airport board, animal services, TIF, and Lake Allen Henry.
There are tons of boards.
There are tons of them.
And they are looking actively for members. And as you just heard Ms. Randle say, they are actively looking for a wide variety of members from every demographic. So, in other words, what I'm hearing is that means you.
Exactly.
So please apply. Go on the website, go to the city secretary site, give them a call, figure out if there's something that you want to be involved with. And that's my thing, bro, is I think we touched on this with the last conversation with the gentleman that we were speaking to. You have to get involved. You can't be mad about things and upset things didn't go this way or that way. get in there and help it go this way or that way. They literally are asking you to apply.
Right. And you don't always, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times, to put your name out there. You can list your preference, but your preference might be to serve on the Animal Services Board. And Animal Services Board doesn't have a vacancy right now. Or if the vacancy is there, we're looking for somebody to represent District 5, and that's not your district. You live in District 6. So just stay updated with it and update your information that you have submitted.
Yep. And I believe the way that works too, when you submit your information, it stays on the books and you can be considered. It doesn't get purged. If it does, it's every year. It stays
right.
on
And
for
I don't
a year.
think it's every year, but you don't want to wait 3 years, because when we look at your list and say, well, they haven't updated their information since 2021. So once you submit your application, just periodically go in and update it. And who knows, you might have changed jobs. You might have got an additional degree. You might have got an additional certification. And so you want everything to be as current as possible.
Right. Ms. Randle, thank you for coming on the show. Before we close it out, I want to throw it back to you one more time and see, do you have anything else that you want the city of Lubbock to focus on when it comes to AKAs or anything else?
Well, now that'll take 5 days for me. So that question.
We have a minute.
Okay, well I can condense it to a minute. My background is working with children, and sometimes I feel like that we can do better by our children. We as older retired people, we as parents of young children, we as people in the community, we need to step up our game when it comes to children. As parents, know what's going on at your child's school. Don't wait for the school to call you. Don't. And be ready to have a conversation with the teachers. And if things are not going the way you want them to go, speaking as a former principal, the conversations that went better were when parents came and we sat and we talked and we could come to a solution together. It wasn't always what I wanted. It wasn't always what the parents wanted. But when we can talk to each other we can just talk to each other, that helps. So just be involved. Get involved in the city, know your city, and if you see something that's not going right, just let somebody know, because things cannot get better if you go and tell somebody somewhere else that's not involved. We need to talk to the people who are there at the table making the decisions.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Bro, do you have anything to leave the viewers with?
No, I just want to thank you for gracing us with your presence. Yes, ma'am.
I had these notes and I didn't mention anything I had on these notes. So I have to come back.
Yes, okay, well, you're welcome to come back.
Yes,
indeed.
Yes,
indeed. LBK, thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of the Focus LBK show. If you are, we have a segment called Out and About. If you are out and about and you see some distinguished looking ladies in pink and green lending a hand and pitching in somewhere, you want to do the ski week?
No, I'll save that for the undergraduates.
Okay. I couldn't do it even if I was allowed to, because my voice don't go that high. No, I was going to say it'll just come out sounding like air. Anyway, Lubbock, thank y'all for tuning in, and we hope y'all enjoyed this episode of the Lubbock Focus LBK podcast. We'll see y'all next time. And if you want to get on and talk about your fraternity or sorority, please hit us up, and we'll see y'all next time. All right, take it easy. Peace. Confident and masculine, I step into the stadium. Eyes wide, time flies, life like palladium. Value in the moments that be fleeting in our face and then they gone. Just before you reach your goal, they call you back home. Alone.